What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. You guys are having a wonderful day. As good of a day as I am, I hope so. So today's video, we're going to be talking about the Aero modifications I made to the Civic Type R. I'm going to go through what I got, how I installed it, why I got it, and my philosophy around the whole thing. So if you like those kind of videos, stay tuned till the end. We're talking in detail about all of those things that are important when it comes to aerodynamics in your car, especially your race car. So if you guys like the videos, make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Let's get started. So, what's the most important parts of the aerodynamics package of a front-wheel drive vehicle? That's pretty easy. Of course, it is the front splitter. So, the front splitter, or the front aerodynamics, is the most important part because all of the power and all of the steering, all of the turning is happening at the front wheels. So, at the front wheels, you're going to want as much traction as possible. One of the best ways to gain traction up front is, of course, a splitter. So I went ahead and I looked at the market and I saw what was out there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of splitters out there that they look good. They look really good, actually, and they almost look functional. But honestly, if it's not mounted to a structural part of the vehicle, it's going to have very limited effect on the aerodynamics. You have to remember, aerodynamics don't matter unless you're at around 80 to 100 miles an hour. And at those speeds, you want downforce. And what is downforce? It's literally just pounds of force pressing down on whatever material you're using at the time to create that downforce. So if you're using a splitter that only mounts up to your bumper, to your plastic bumper, it's really not doing that much, guys. It's really not doing that much. It looks great. And it may improve airflow a little bit here and there, but honestly, if you want real downforce at the front or back, you want chassis mounts, whatever you're using. So, I, again, looked at the market and saw really there wasn't much out there except for RaceBred. So, RaceBred has been doing splitters for a long time for S2000s, and I contacted them saying, hey, do you guys have a splitter for a Civic Type R? And they said no. Well, that sucks. They suggested that I went ahead and buy the brackets for a S2000, and since they were already kind of working on a Civic Type R splitter, they were able to send me the Civic Type R specific splitter blade. So I took the S2000 bumper mount brackets and bought the RaceBred splitter. Now, I paid full for this. I didn't get any discounts or anything like that. Just so let you guys know, I'm not biased on this at all. And it just so happens that RaceBred just released their Civic Type R specific brackets and a tutorial on how to install it. So I won't go into details on how to install it, but I took the S2000 brackets, I put them on the car, I drilled a couple holes in the support beams, I cut a bunch of plastic out of the bumper, the bottom of the bumper, in order to fit those brackets, and I installed the splitter. Now the reason, again, you want your splitter mounted to your chassis is to make sure that it really is holding on to that splitter blade, because let me tell you, that splitter blade is creating a lot of good downforce. So number one, it creates good downforce. Number two, it actually directs the air under the engine bay very smoothly through the engine bay, through the bottom of the car. Now, comes to traction and downforce. It has to do with turbulence and air turbulence. I won't bore you with the details, but that giant splitter down there really does help a lot when it comes to downforce. So after the install, I put the bumper back on. It was a little tight. It was kind of difficult for me to do. So the bumper didn't fit on perfectly afterwards. I don't care. Race car things, right? That's all that matters to me right now. So I put the splitter on and I started driving it. I took it to a track day. On this track day, I realized that while I have a lot of traction up front, the rear really was suffering when it came to traction. It was pretty loose, and actually it's pretty loose to begin with. So one of the things to note about Civic Type R's is that they have really, really loose rear ends. I know, funny, right? They like to play around back there, and in fact, that's actually how I crashed. The rear end came loose. I didn't really catch it in time. I didn't realize what was happening until it was too late. I didn't add a throttle like I should have, and slid into a wall, and I crashed. So after testing out just the splitter by itself, I realized the stock factory wing is pretty good. It is functional, but there's a couple of things that went through my mind. I already have a splitter, so no matter what, I am in the aerodynamics class of racing. Doesn't matter where I go. So since I'm already in the Aero class, I might as well go ahead and just tack on a wing back there. So I looked around again, and I went through a lot of different wings. I wanted a lightweight wing that was very sturdy, was proven at the racetrack to give you downforce, and honestly, also look good. Nobody wants an ugly wing on their car. So after much deliberation and discussion, I went with the Apr wing. So Apr sells you two types of wings. You can either get I call it the curvy one or the straight blade one. Now the curvy one's going to give you less downforce, but it'll look good. Let's be honest. A lot of people like to buy wings or extra wings or big wings for the looks. I wanted the best downforce I could possibly get, so I got the straight one. I'll put links in the description to exactly what I got, so you guys know exactly what I got. There'll be no surprises. So I installed that. It was extremely easy to install that. All I had to do is literally take the panels off the back of the trunk, which I already did anyway. Not the trunk, the hatch. I already took the panels off anyway. There's no plastic left anyway. Took that off, took the screws out of the stock wing, mounted the new wing on in the same screw holes as the old wing, and then went to town. I gotta tell you, at over 100 miles an hour, you can definitely feel the downforce that this car is creating. The biggest difference, especially at a track like a National Corvette Museum track down in Kentucky, the biggest difference is when you come in the right-hand sweepers or left-hand sweepers that are high-speed sweepers, you can basically stay on the throttle and take that turn at a much, much higher rate of speed. It's really quite incredible what you can do with the amount of speed you can take with aerodynamics. So those are the two things I got for aerodynamics. Honestly, if I had to do it over again, I would definitely go with the race bred, the FK8 specific one now that they have out. But the S2000 one, hey, it works out for me so far. And the Apr wing is one of the best. You know, like I said, I really felt the difference with the downforce, and I do recommend it. Now finally, do I recommend it for you to get? It really depends on the philosophy of use of your car. If all you're going to do with your car is daily it, and every once in a while take it to an HPDE or a track day, do not get any kind of aerodynamics. The car is good as it is. If, however, you're starting to get a little bit serious about track day driving and you want that extra bit of downforce, that extra bit of edge at the track, go ahead and get yourself a nice race bred splitter, and while you're at it, an Apr wing. Now remember, with a splitter in the front, the car becomes a lot less drivable. It's a lot less dailyable. It's still very fun though. But you're gonna have to watch out as you go dip in and out of gas stations. Even highly inclined roads and streets are a problem, so keep that in mind. Another thing, if you're gonna get serious downforce and you're gonna get serious speeds in your cars, well, this car specifically, you're gonna want to start looking into upgrading your suspension. The stock FK8 suspension is really, really good, but once you start adding downforce and really racing the car, the stock springs are just not hard enough, they're not stiff enough to keep you up. I've bottomed out a few times in this car because the downforce plus the bounciness of the track both contributed to bottoming out the splitter. Now the splitter designed for that, it's got some nice protection at the bottom from how it's installed from RaceBred itself. Very smart people over there. But that's something to consider. So one of my next steps, well actually my next step is definitely going to be installing my Fortunato 510s. Those are going to be an amazing addition to this car. It's going to really increase the drivability actually of this car. It's going to stiffen everything up and make it so that it's more drivable on the street from it not really bottoming out everywhere I go, as well as faster on track. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, put it down below in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, hit subscribe. Catch you next time. Peace.